Healthy planet, healthy people. In today's episode of my podcast, We Need to Talk with Lydia, Season 2, Episode 3, we are going to be discussing the role of young people in fighting climate change through tree planting. It's very much important as young people we get involved in fighting climate change because we are the future. If we don't take care of our green environment, if we don't do the right things, the laws, and obey everything and give justice to climate, the world will not be a good place to accommodate us all. So, to help me discuss this amazing topic, I have a guest in the studio. He's a climate change expert and also the executive director of YARDO-SL, that is Sierra Leone. And he's not less a person, but Mr. Ahmid C. Jalloh. Hello and welcome to my podcast. We Need to Talk with Lydia.
Yes, good afternoon, Lydia, and good afternoon, listeners. Thank you so much for having me on this platform.
It's a pleasure having you here today. So, before we dive into the conversation, we are taking a short break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to Group.SL, dealer in phone accessories, plasmas, iPad, and many more. Located at 60B Godrich, Freetown. They offer free delivery within Freetown, Bo, Kenema, and Makeni. Explore their wide range of products, including power banks, smart TVs, Android phones, and various ring lights, all brand new and affordably priced. Don't miss out on your kids' learning tablet for just 2,800 leones. It features 256 GB storage, 6 GB RAM, dual SIM, and a 10.1 inch screen. Perfect for learning. For adults, they also have a versatile tablet at 3,500 leone with 512 GB storage, 8 GB RAM, a wireless keyboard, and much more. It's ideal for both work and play. For more information, contact them on their Facebook page, Group.SL, or on their WhatsApp contact +232 77 97 60 76. Get your tech today.
So, welcome to my podcast. We Need to Talk with Lydia. This is Season 2, Episode 3. So, Mr. Ahmed, talking about the role of young people in fighting climate change through tree planting, I think it's a very crucial thing to discuss because, it's our responsibility as young people to get involved into climate change activism and all. So, first of all, I want to know what got you inspired to be into climate change action and tree planting.
Thank you so much for the question. I think this is a very important question. So, you could remember in 2017, August 14, there was a natural disaster. I think that is one of the biggest disasters we have had over the years. And we lost about, could be 2,000 people.
The mudslide, right?
The mudslide, yes, at Matome Regent. And science or evidences have shown that this is a climate-related issue. And unfortunately for me, I lost somebody, a personal friend of mine, during that event. So since then, I've accelerated my efforts in terms of climate actions. Yeah.
All right. How has it been so far?
Well, it's been good so far because we have done a lot over the years, and there has been a lot of progress.
All right. So let's talk about your organization, YARDO-SL. What's it about?
So basically, YARDO is a registered NGO with the Ministry of Planning and Economic Development, MOPED, and we've been an NGO for the past 5 years. And we are youth-focused development NGO working mainly with young people as beneficiaries. And we work across 4 thematic areas, environment and climate change being number one, agriculture and livelihood, then public health and wash, then governance issues.
And also, I found out that you guys have done over, is it 10,000 tree planting?
That number is small,
Oh,
but yeah, so
really?
yeah, that's a small number. So we've been this for quite some time. For example, our project with Freetown, the Freetown, which is almost into its third year of implementation. So behind my back, my mind, I think we've planted closely to 800,000 trees over the past
All
5
right. So
years.
I want to ask something.
Yeah.
Is it only that it's statistics that you guys are showing, or these trees are actually in existence? They are being monitored
Yeah.
and all. Are there evidence to support this?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
the thing is, we often hear about climate change. Let's plant trees, let's do this. But are these trees really planted? Are they being monitored? When they grow up, are they cut down?
Okay.
Because we are supporting climate change, but
Yeah.
yet still people are burning charcoals and all.
Exactly.
So is it that it's just a statistics, or it's really in place?
So basically, and your question make a lot of sense. And when you see Freetown and tree planting in Freetown, first of all, people need to understand the reason why we plant trees when it comes to climate change.
All right.
And basically, I would just want to educate our listeners when you talk about climate change. Climate change has a lot of impact around everything that happens. Could be on agriculture, could be on public health, could be on natural disasters, just like the example I gave at Regent. Then science have proven that planting trees could help to capture the carbon, which would mitigate climate change. So basically, that's the main reason why there has been a lot of tree planting in Freetown. But going back to your question, there is always challenge when it comes to tree planting in Freetown because of, land grabbing issues. That's a key issue because a lot of people want to build houses, and they often see tree planting as a challenge to them to access to land. So if you ask me again, we've planted a lot of trees, and I will not tell you that 100% of the trees are surviving, but a whole number of them are surviving, and there are evidences in the communities we serve. If you go to Kisi, you go to Wellington, and the watershed area, you go to Bobo, Mile 13, Guma, you ask for this place, these communities, a lot of young people have been part of the
But you guys
process.
are doing very well. So,
Yeah.
is there a specific initiative, like a specific planting initiative you guys use, a method?
Okay, so basically, what we've done over the years is to try to adapt our tree planting process to encompass human capital development as part of it. Because what we realize is if you go to communities, you just tell them about planting trees, they may not show too much interest on it. But when it's aligned with livelihood, you tend to see more participation and more ownership of the project. So let me give you an example. We are currently implementing a project with support from the Global Development Network at Wellington and Allenton community. So what we do is the Wellington and Taylor Street Dam, it was very devastated because a lot of people are cutting down trees either for charcoal production, firewood. So we go to the communities, educate them for them to understand that their watershed, their dam, supposed to have trees because science says with trees they will have quality water and more water. So what we do is to create a livelihood for them as tree planters, tree growers. They have a phone, a technology wherein everybody is assigned to a particular number of trees in a specific area.
They are being
Monitored. So they send the monthly report, they track the trees. For example, if I say, Lydia, you are assigned 100 trees. These trees are planted, you plant them, you take care of them. So on a monthly basis, you are paid to take care of those trees. And we monitor the trees through the technology because we have the tree tracker app. You snap the trees on a monthly basis and send it to us. So before now, you could ask somebody, how about the trees? They said they were doing very well. They are up there. So you don't have evidence. But now they track, they send it to us, watch them, we approve them, then we make payment to them.
All right.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. And
Yeah.
I can say it's a good work, and you guys are doing a lot. I can remember I was part of the past event that was conducted by City Council,
Yeah.
the mayor, the tree
Okay.
planting,
Yeah.
green, what's something green Freetown, and so I
Yeah.
was part of it.
Okay.
And
The launching of the Freetown,
yes, I
second phase.
was
Okay.
part of it. I participated.
Okay.
We are the streets, we educated
Donating trees.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, they donated a lot of trees.
Yeah.
Tombi,
Yeah.
I can remember.
Yeah.
And lots more.
Yeah.
We took like 2
Okay.
because I'm part of an organization, Youth in Governance.
Okay.
We went there as an organization.
Okay.
We took 2 trees.
Okay.
And we planted it in some kind of good area.
Okay.
And it's being monitored also.
Okay.
So now going to our topic, the role of young people in fighting climate change through tree planting.
Sure.
You know, climate change is a global issue. It's
Sure.
not only in Sierra Leone,
No.
all over the world.
Sure.
And I can say countries that are not actually contributing to all these problems that are being caused by climate change are the ones suffering.
Yeah.
You know, the other developed countries that are the one, you know, doing all, absorbing a lot of all these chemicals and all, producing this, that. But countries that are not so developed, the developing ones, they are the one that are suffering from all this work, chemical work and all that is done in other countries. That's why I remember when I went for the summit in Ivory Coast, Abidjan, you know, we had a lot of sessions, and one of one of the climate change experts that did something with us, and she was like, it is a responsibility for these developed countries to help fight climate change issues when it comes to developing countries, like fighting in the sense to give their money to provide things that will help to mitigate or to manage climate change, because the fact is climate change is not going to stop.
No.
The way I was feeling hot 5 years back is not the same way I'm feeling hot right now.
No.
And the activities we are into, imagine you have a lot of cars, you know, we have a lot of things we are doing as humans that are affecting climate. So it's not going to stop.
No.
The only thing we can do is how to see that we can manage it. So what are some of the roles of young people in fighting climate change?
Yeah. First of all, you know, what you just said about the global, there's a concept around we are living in a global village. So whatever is done in a country like China, could be in England, I mean, the impact is felt in Sierra Leone because we are living in a global village. So I think that's the concept around climate justice, you know, because when you look at the global north, they are more powerful, that they have more manufacturing powers, they have more industries, so they are polluters. Whereas when you look at the global south, developing countries like ours, Sierra Leone, we tend to pollute less. You could imagine the amount of cars we have in Sierra Leone compared to any other country and in Europe. But nonetheless, we suffer more. This is because when you look at the impact, we don't have the technology, the manpower, the finance to adapt to climate change. For example, if there's a flood here, it could take days before, I mean, people are rescued or assistance come. Whereas in other countries, recently we have seen what happened in America. In just a matter of time, I mean, there are helicopters, flights, everybody coming and working and making sure people get back to their lives. So, and the question around what do young people do? I always have this kind of idea that if I was 68 years of age, I will not be concerned too much about climate change.
Yeah, because
you know, I will have lived. I will have lived the best of my life. But as a young person, I have so much hope, so much to be done, and I believe that I should take action now to make sure I reverse the impact of climate change. So as young people, the first thing that comes to my mind when that question is asked is around how do we raise awareness? Because like seriously, there's a huge gap in awareness. You can go down to the street now, people passing by, you ask anybody, what do you understand by climate change? You know, I mean, they are more concerned. There are a lot of other things in their mind
they
for
don't
them to
have the
concern about climate
knowledge.
change.
Yeah.
So it could either be the ignorance, the lack of
Yeah.
knowledge, or maybe some people actually know about climate change, but they have a lot of things to concern about. You have to concern about your feeding, your
And maybe
education.
they are not even seeing it as a
Concerned.
problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
You know.
I have an uncle that always say if you see something as a problem, you try as hard as possible to bring solutions.
Exactly.
So he said instead of we make it climate change scare, he said we should. He used a very word. He said instead of we should be calling it climate change, we should say climate scare. He said so that people we know the implication. If you're scared of something, you know what will happen if you throw plastic around, what it will lead to. You have the knowledge, you're scared, you try to see that you walk towards
it. So that's why I said, and I think the gap in knowledge is very critical as young people, so that we will create awareness, because once there's awareness, there's a call for action. And when there's a call for action, there's change of perception, there's change of attitude. Just like you said, when you look at issues around flooding in Freetown, it's all around people throwing garbage in the gutters, and people don't even know how flooding happens. But when they are explained to the communities we served, and a lot of changes have happened over years. So I think when it comes to climate change in particular, the first thing is awareness, create knowledge, so people will know down to community level. They will understand the complex nature of climate change, because once you say climate change, it's kind of confusing at times. So you have to break it down to them so they will understand.
All right. And there is something also I think is another issue. Most of the time we wait for the disaster to happen than we try to prevent it. We see the signs that this is not okay, but instead of we take preventive measures to solve these issues, we wait until the disaster happens. I think this is one issue again that has been leading to a lot of disaster and problems that we face with climate change. But before we get to the conclusion of this, we are going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
Welcome to NewtonGroup.SL, dealer in phone accessories, plasmas, iPod, and many more, located at 60B Godrich, Freetown. They offer free delivery within Freetown, Bo, Kenema, and Makeni. Explore their wide range of products, including power banks, smart TVs, Android phones, and various ring lights, all brand new and affordably priced. Don't miss out on your kids' learning tablet for just 2,800 leones. It features 256 GB storage, 6 GB RAM, dual SIM, and a 10.1-inch screen. Perfect for learning. For adults, they also have a versatile tablet at 3,500 leone with 512 GB storage, 8 GB RAM, a wireless keyboard, and much more. It's ideal for both work and play. For more information, contact them on their Facebook page NewtonGroup.SL or on their WhatsApp contact +232 77 97 60 76. Get your tech today.
Hello and welcome again to my podcast. We need to talk with Lydia. This is season 2, episode 3. Today we are discussing about the role of young people in fighting climate change through tree planting. And so, as we discussed, Mr. Ahmed, I have a question I really want to ask. Can you help explain the stories of youth leadership in addressing climate-induced risks and disaster through tree planting, like in Sierra Leone?
Yeah, sure. A lot of successes have been done in that regard. We've seen the emergence of a lot of young people showing interest into climate change. And I think if I have to give an example, I will take my institution, YARDO, which stands for Youth Action for Relentless Development Organization. For the past 6 years, we've been leading projects after project on tree planting to reduce the impact of climate change. And I think that stands as an example of youth leadership, because if you can see what we have accomplished over the years, I think that's a very big one for young people to do.
All right. So, if there's a young person out there that wants to get involved in tree planting project, because you've already stated, like you've stated that tree planting helps to reduce the risks of disaster,
Yeah,
to mitigate climate change
exactly.
issues.
Yeah.
So, how can young people get involved into this?
Yeah, so basically, I could say there's a two-way. And first of all, let me just explain the need for tree planting. Somebody may be asking,
Yeah,
I mean,
why? Yeah,
why the need for tree planting and all. So basically, when you look at the soil topography, especially in the western area of Freetown, I mean, we live in a hilly slope, sort of. So people before now, Freetown was all over green. You could see a lot of trees have been cut down, deforestations, because people want to build, and due to the expansion of human settlement, people are going towards the hill. You know, so and what happens is when they cut down the trees to build, most often they don't have the time to plant trees again.
And that's the law, right?
Yeah, there's a law for that. You should plant at least 1, 10, or whatever the law. But there's no enforcement. Have you ever seen somebody being arrested for not planting trees?
No.
So there comes the need to plant trees, because if you don't plant trees, what will happen? The rain that comes, the soil will be exposed. And when the soil exposed, and if there's a tree, the tree will serve as tree cover. That's why there's a term called tree cover. It will reduce the impact of the rain hitting on the soil. And also, when you look at the root of the tree, it helps to integrate the soil. Otherwise, I mean, when the rain comes, hits on the ground, you see what we call runoff. You know, water coming up from the streets, from the hills, then coming flash flood, resulting to floods. And you see a lot of, whenever there's rain in Freetown, you see there's a lot of road blockages. You know, this is because because of silk, that the sand with stones coming up the hills, coming down with speed, because the water does not have any trees, resistant to erosions. And when the silk comes to the gutters, silk, like, it's like sand together with stones, so it just block the gutters, you know, block the streets, creating a lot of floods, traffic, etc. So that's the reason why, you know, tree planting is very essential. You know, and also when you look at the scientific reasons in terms of climate change, science tells us that trees is a natural mechanism. You know, the atmosphere used to absorb carbon dioxide. And when they say carbon dioxide, this comes from smokes that we emanate from vehicles, industries, you know. So it absorbs all of this instead of it going up to the atmosphere. Otherwise, when it goes up to the atmosphere, it kind of creates how do I call it? It kind of like compromise the atmosphere. Like, the atmosphere is a blanket of natural gases. So when the carbon dioxide go up there, it's kind of like when you have a blanket, shook it, so it exposes it. Then the sun will have direct penetration into the earth. And the role of the atmosphere is to reduce the impact of the sun hitting on the earth. So when that happens, too much of carbon dioxide goes to the atmosphere, compromise our natural barrier, the sun hits us directly, global warming, and all this has a lot of impact on agriculture, you know, and public health. For example, this is October. You can see there is rain coming now as if it is already in August. You know, so
and this year the climate is very crazy.
It's like changes everything, and when it changes everything, it has a lot of impact on the natural cycle. You know, the farmers, the way in the villages they used to like plant once there's a first rain, you know, all these kind of things. Everything has changed, so it has a lot of impact. So if you ask me how young people will get engaged or involved into tree planting, like I said, it could be two approach. The first one is a self-centered approach. As a young person, you are charged with the responsibility to understand your community, to see your community. You know, look at your community, see your community, and see there is a need for tree planting. You know, once you are able to understand the need, then you create a campaign. A campaign where you can mobilize, because one person cannot do it all.
It's
You know, exactly. You identify key stakeholders within your community, create a team, you know, sell the idea to other people. Then you all come together, you can have your trees, but you also need to know where to plant the trees. So that's why I said it's not just one person. Sure. So as a young person, it can be self-centered. You build your team, work around your team, create the initiative. Then you look at the areas. Could be the watershed area, could be the public parks, roadway, you know, neighborhood planting, so that, because when you do neighborhood planting, you plant fruit trees in schools, you are giving food to the school as well. Then it could also be creating linkage to established projects already. But this kind of difficult a bit, because a lot of these projects coming through are community centered. It could be like Lydia, you're living in Kisi, and the other is doing a project in Wellington. So it's kind of difficult. How do you relate? But most often, if the project is in your community, tree planting is in your community as a young person, it's an opportunity for you to get your hands on the planting, so that you give back to your community. Because every tree plant, you are saving a life. Yeah.
And you know, all this you said, I'll just put it as climate care.
Yeah.
Because I believe if you care about something, you show concern.
Sure.
And you've already established and explained the reason that young people should see reason to get involved into tree planting. If you get involved into tree planting, you're saving a life, you're creating a green environment for yourself.
Yeah.
You're because
providing food at times.
You're providing food as well.
Yeah.
Because just imagine if we have a very bad environment, you know, you can't even enjoy your life.
No.
If you get married, you are in a very bad environment.
No.
It's not good.
No.
So I think we should try and see a need. Because some people are like, you know, climate change are everybody's business. Some people are like, it's not my business as long as I'm not being affected. And we should try as hard as possible to wipe away that mentality. Climate change is everybody's business. If now flooding happens, it's not going to affect Lydia alone or Mr. Ahmid alone.
Yeah.
It's going to affect everybody.
Sure.
So in concluding, like, what would be your advice to young people that are actually passionate about climate change activism?
Yeah, so first of all, I want to tell them a thank you, because for somebody to be passionate about climate change, it's kind of difficult to see these days, because like you said earlier on, a lot of people are into advocacy, but into other areas of advocacy, you know, women advocacy, education, you know, all are equally important. But we tend to need more people on the climate space, because climate issue are, I don't want to say abstract, but kind of difficult to show people. So we need more voices for people to understand, and so that we can be able to change mindsets at community level. Then we can also be able to advocate for government for better policies. So as young people working in this space, what I would try to say is for them to go out there, continue to talk to people, continue to engage people. Nobody is safe when it comes to climate change. Because like you said earlier on, somebody may say, I mean, I'm not at risk, I'm not at whatever because of climate change. But now, in the past 2 years, when you look at record, because of the high level of temperatures in Sierra Leone, the Guma level, water level is going down. I mean, Guma is the only source of pipe-borne water, giving water to the Freetown city. So you could see the dangers in the next 4 or 5 years. If action is not taken now, what will happen? And you already know the level of deforestation happening around that Guma area. It's a worrisome thing for all of us as young people, particularly, because in the next 30 years, 50 years, we'll be here and we want to drink the Guma water. But the trees, like I said earlier on in this discussion, are meant to help reduce the amount of sun hitting on the water table or at the watershed area. But now people are cutting down those trees for land, to build, you know. So it's a concern for all of us as young people to add a voice.
Job.
Yeah.
People are cutting the trees in order to like find a source of living.
Exactly.
If you go to other areas, you go to like the village areas.
Yeah.
Aside the lack of knowledge, one of the reasons why most of them are cutting the trees is for them to have
Livelihood.
something to eat.
Sure,
So
livelihood.
I think again, if we want to be addressing this issue, the government or people should like create job opportunities
Sure.
for some of these people. Because to be real with you,
Yeah.
imagine I'm staying in one small village and the only way I can survive is to cut down trees
Exactly.
for wood or to do charcoal or other things.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, I will die.
Exactly.
So some of the reasons of cutting trees, some are really, really realistic.
Yeah, yeah.
So they one of the ways we can help is to like create more job for people.
Yeah.
I believe if jobs are created, the way trees are cut
The burden
down,
on the forest will reduce.
it will be
So
reduced.
if I can add to that discussion, that area, sometimes last year we had a grant from IKI, which is the International Climate Initiative. It's a competitive grant all over the world. I think we are one of the very few organizations across Africa who we are able to get that grant. Our proposal was very impressive because over the years, like I said, we've done a lot of planting. And what came out of our engagement with the communities is around livelihood. Some people will even make fun, like we angry when I tell you some more can plant stick.
You see,
It's
not like fun. They are being real.
No, that's the thing. So what we did with this IKI project, we are very smart in such a way that we are able to address issues of livelihood through the project. So what we did was we did a study. Once we go to the community, it's a Big Water community after number 2 York Big Water. So what we did was understand the dynamics at community level. Then we did a study where we interview a lot of people.
Like a survey.
A survey, a study. So what came out was a lot of the reasons why they are engaged into deforestation is because of livelihood. Either charcoal production, firewood collections, etc. So what we did was create a training program on alternative livelihood, and we had 4 training programs. There was one for garada tying, there was one for tailoring, there was one for soap making, and there was one for vegetable production. We train them, give them the resources they need to start up their own businesses. And to be honest with you, if I can show you my phone, there's videos of women who like now saying that they actually
and we can play when we are going for the break.
Good. So they are actually like happy because most of them, this livelihood they are doing charcoal productions is just because they don't have alternative, because it also have an impact on their life, on their health. When you set up a charcoal production, all the smoke coming through you and all. So exactly. So it's very good working on tree planting. Any other initiative, every organization working on tree planting, to understand that it can really help if the livelihood of the people is put at the center.
Thank you so much. Thank you
welcome.
so much. I think I've learned a lot as well. It's not only for the viewers out there. It has been amazing having you here today.
Thank
and
you so
I'm
much.
hoping to have more sessions like this because I think we need to raise more awareness.
Sure.
We need to have the knowledge.
Yeah.
And we can see how we can work things out.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being part of my podcast.
Thank you so much, Lydia.
So this is the end of today's podcast. We need to talk with Lydia. Season 2, episode 3. It is your responsibility. It is my responsibility as young people to get into the fight of climate change, to involve in tree planting occasions and all, and also try to create more awareness about climate change. You have WhatsApp, you have TikTok, you have Instagram. Let us try and create more awareness of climate change issues. Till then, I've always been your host, Lydia K. Talker. Don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms. We need to talk with Lydia. We are on YouTube, #Lydia's channel, and also on Instagram, Lydia T. My Facebook page, We Need to Talk with Lydia. Subscribe to my channel. Bye for now. See you in my next episode.